currently everything's really early and really testing. Um, you have your inventory on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is your equipment and everything. I have a super wide monitor, so sort of pretty far apart for me, but normally it wouldn't be this far. Maybe in the future I'll add the ability to customize your HUD. Be pretty cool. But uh, then there's these containers. Containers. I'm working on containers to sort of like build up the environment in buildings. So it's not just a building, an empty building with like loot and zombies. So instead it'll be furnished and have containers in which you can open, close, and then you loot out of. So you can see there's something in here, but I can't pick it up until I open it. Um, the gun system I think it's pretty fleshed out and pretty good. It's just the only some issues, like I mean balancing of course, because I mean the recoil on the Vector is just insane. But otherwise, the attachments I think it's my favorite thing, and also being able to move the icons where you want them. One problem too is that I need to add a reset button, so if you move your icon, like can't get back to it. Stuck. So I need to add a little button that you can click to set everything. I was thinking actually it'd be right click. But you can see everything kind of, it's really dynamic in the sense of it automatically points to the node and then identifies the node name. So really cool. And attachments do work. They do change stats of the weapon, like even the elements. So like the barrels here, they have different muzzle flashes and tracers. You can see the muzzle flash is different, and then you see the tracers and the muzzle flash. So pretty cool. Um, that's been pretty fleshed out, and then third person is kind of the same. Although I need to increase the recoil on the cursor. The way it works is instead of your camera moving around, it's your cursor that moves. Because I know in the old game, people would like you'd move your camera around and position it to where you want it, and then you start shooting. And some people would hold left click and then also shoot at the same time, but that feels wrong, in my opinion. So I thought, I would do it this way. But maybe I'll add another, like an option to switch that. But my thing is just if you're shooting and then your camera just spazzing out, like that's not fun. And it really makes it like grainy. But anyways, so then we have the bank, which works and functions. Stuff there. I need to add a quick keybind stuff here. There's different pages. That fully functions. I haven't really expanded on that any. It works. The stylist I need to work on more and update because it's pretty garbage. It was a really quick implementation and just a lot of testing. But it does work and you can like color everything. But I'm really not a fan. I was going for something pretty complicated, um, where like you would select an item and then you'd be able to like really customize it to the color that you want, and then you could create a material. Um, so you have like a preset, and then also there's like already made materials that you could apply to the different clothing. But I think I'm gonna step back from that and go with a more simplistic implementation first, and then in the future maybe I'll reintroduce that. But I'm gonna change everything to this left-hand side so that sleeves and like pants and everything is here. Um, and then these containers or these tabs would be more like um, genres or more specific to something else, maybe. I don't know. But the thought coming from the jukebox over here, I have an official tab, a community tab, and then you have a playlist, shuffle button, which most of this doesn't really work yet, but the official tab would contain all the official music and maybe it would contain official music from different chapters and stuff like that. And then the community tab could contain different music from like different artists or different um, of people, whatever. So you pick your favorite community. This one. Um, then like that's loud. There are some issues. For some reason, I think I know why, but the full screen mode switches whenever you apply other settings. I'm pretty sure I know why, but so in the safe zone though, this is where you bank and whatnot. And my future idea is to add modular safe zone. So there will be more than one safe zone in which have different environments and in different locations. So you could like get a favorite safe zone that's like the most prettiest, whatever. But the idea being is that in the future, this would allow for you to sort of build up your safe zone. So, for example, in the next update of the game, the stylist, it has like a sleeping bag. And so maybe I can pour money into the safe zone or like build up the safe zone so that the vendors have a better place to sleep or stay or like their shop looks way better. It improves in design and like everything, and it looks different. And maybe you'll be able to choose the sort of artistic, like different designs for each stylist, shop or whatever, and even the bank or you know, just to allow you to really customize the safe zone to how you would want it. Um, but the thing is this would be separate from the building system. You can still build your own base, what I want, at least in the future. Um, but beyond that, you can walk out of the safe zone or teleport, which is new, Deadzone genre. Usually you would just teleport, but now I made it to where you can walk out to further introduce this system of where there's different safe zones. So I can just walk out of the safe zone. Safe zone? I need to fix this if that goes away. The environment's still pretty early on. Map and everything, obviously testing, but I like it. It's coming along. Some improvement. This is the first sort of testing city that I have going. Really, it's the only city. And loot you can pick up and what. In the latest update though, zombies and everything do cold. And that means that they stop rendering outside of a certain. That really improves the sort of performance aspects of things. And that goes for world items, like stuff on the ground and everything too. They stop rendering after a certain distance. And zombies are pretty modular in the sense their AI path tracing also stops after a certain distance because it's really unnecessary. The pathing is pretty costly, and zombies have different functions too, where they roam, they idle, and they chase. And I guess it's kind of like a search function too, the chase, because if they're chasing you, they'll search around in the last location they saw or heard you. So we can actually witness this here, where they're going to the last location they heard me shoot my gun, right over there. And then once they get there, they'll sort of wander around and look. You can see I called quite a few zombies because different audio has different audio range effect, and the zombies have like um, 3 elements to hearing. So there's like loud, medium, and low. So if I'm prone and walking, they won't hear that zombie saw me, sees me. So if I'm walking, it's like sneaking. It works. If I crouch, they can't really. If I prone, they can't all. I can get pretty close. When I shoot my gun, you can that or walking in, and they can see as well. So that's it's recoil is crazy. Another cool element too is impact with guns. So whenever your bullet hits and kills something, whatever wherever the bullet landed, it creates a sort of impact force, which impacts the ragdoll. So you can kind of tell, like if I shoot the right arm and they die, it sort of pushes that right arm. So it makes the ragdoll fall to the right side. And if I shoot to the left side, it goes to the left. If I shoot from the top, it sort of the legs don't really work well because it catches on the ground. But you can sort of tell right and left. See, we're pulling in a lot of zombies. But by killing zombies and stuff, the level money and the earnings you make from it do function and work. On the right hand side, I'm collecting XP and everything. And even on the left hand side, my level was growing. And these values do function, so I can actually take away or gain. So that's early implementation for like the shops and whatnot. So shooting inside highly populated zombies area is pretty bad. You definitely don't want to, but it attracts that it makes. Here we can see in here there's I added a little container early for testing to get a feel for the idea. Not sure why the shadows can't see anything, huh? Which honestly I like. The speaking of the environment system is unique in the sense of that there's different um how would you say looking for the side. Um no, the environment is unique in this that um there's different cycles, so you have night, afternoon, and evening or whatever, in which changes the lighting of the day, the sort of density of the fog, and that sort of introduction will allow for the weather environment to fully affect and alter the sort of feel. So you can have dynamic nights where there's denser fog or there's less fog or it's a little brighter, like it's a full moon, so it's brighter. See, or oh, I didn't even see it. I need to add an indication when you're thirsty, dying. Pretty bad right now. But so that's my future idea is to add more sort of unique weather events in which would allow you to sort of not always be in the pitch black dark and also prepare for different events. Like if it's super dark, you can have a better flashlight or night vision even. Um, but anyways, these gas zones do work. If I get into the gas zone, it'll tick over time. toxicity will tick up. And once it reaches 1,000, then I'll tick health damage. Probably should. And the stats are tick based, so after a certain amount of ticks, they get affected. They should damage change. Actually, but once you're outside of the toxicity zone, your toxicity will slowly decrease. Really need to add a flashlight. These are test buildings, which for buildables, I plan to make them like this right here is a build. Do this dog water. But in the future, what I'll make it is to where you have like wood walls, for example, and then I just place the wall, and then you could interact with the wall to modify it to like a window or a half wall or, half vertical wall, half horizontal wall, sort of whatever you want. I mean, I guess a good example would be like in Fortnite where you place down a wall, a blueprint to like modify it. But this would take that a step further to where um, you would either research, learn, or buy sort of, I guess it would be like blueprints that kind of, in a sense, educate you on different types of builds. So I think like in even different professions, this kind of sort of ties into different professions where the idea being is that like in Project Zomboid, you can start as a woodsman, like crafting wood objects or whatever, or crafting walls or whatever walls, and that builds you your skill, in which then you grow your profession from like a woodsman to a woodsmaster or whatever. I don't know. And then that allows you to sort of change the wood walls to more unique shapes or even make them stronger, um, or different elements. I don't know, control it more, do whatever the to do with it. Um, so that'll kind of give variety and also different characteristics for different people and their play styles. Because I think that's one element that's really not focused on is there's a lot of people who either only want PvE or only want to collect rare items or only want to sort of build things and build their base. Same element as in Minecraft where there's always that one person who goes mining and gets all the resources, and there's one person who just sits back and builds the base up and makes it like really dope and cool. And then there's the third person, if any, that is building the farms. So this will allow more diversification in different playstyles and professions, I think. Be pretty done. It is really dark. And also buildables are damaged. Break them. Right now, at least. And we'll see. Actually, this can kind of expand and give an idea of what I mean by like different variations, being able to modify a wood wall. So, for example, you can have a wood wall and then you can modify it into a big wood window or a little wood window or a wood window to the right, um, whatever the hell that is, a smaller wood window. All these different variations, and including these half walls, slanted, uh, vertically split. Um, even door frames, you'd probably be able to make a wood wall into a door frame, but not a left-sided door frame or right-sided door frame or a big door frame until you either learn or buy this sort of component or that. So I want to add like more elements of progression for the people who playstyle isn't just hunting zombies. And that could also tie into the story where, depending on what you do in your profession, benefits you and the people around you in different elements. Not by people, I don't mean like players, I mean like NPC. So it'll be unique. Um, and this buildable system is going to be probably a pain in the ass, but it's alright. Anything difficult is always worthwhile. Let's see. But once we're done here, we can go back to the safe zone, in which you can't move or do anything while you're going to the safe zone. That's kind of the risky element. Or you could also walk to the safe zone if you really wanted. Once we're back here, store our loot, whatever we. Oh, and guns also spawn with attachments. Vector that I found. Okay. Well, they can spawn with different attachments. Guess we just get lucky. Shotguns work too. But anyways, hopefully that gives some idea on a sort of direction and whatnot. Um, I'll be coming up with some more updates and better progress on the NPCs here soon, in which will give more of an idea on this sort of lore and storyline aspect of interactions with NPCs. I think it'll expand on the more personalization aspect and get you involved more in the world and its story. But it'll be interesting. All right, thank you.